Hey everybody, Chuck Barone here. It is Wednesday, November the 29th, 2023. Another crazy day in the books, man. It's interesting stuff to talk about today, for sure. But before I get rolling on all my crazy, let me take a half a second to welcome everybody to the show. Glad you're here, and as always, thank you guys for your support. You guys keep us going here. We appreciate you being here watching these videos. And hopefully, this information you're getting is, you're using it for something good. It's more than just a little bit of entertainment on the way home from work or whatever. Anyway, let's talk about these markets today. So, markets today early, encouraged, buoyed up by the idea that rate cuts are coming. The market now factoring in a huge, almost a 50% chance the market believes we'll have rate cuts as soon as March. I'm not so sure about that. You saw today the revised GDP for last quarter upward pretty dramatically. GDP numbers for this quarter, they're expecting them to come down, but they're being stubbornly high. So the markets today kind of got up optimistically, finished a little bit negatively, and the markets ended up kind of mixed today in a kind of a looking for direction kind of guy. Now, there's all kind of data coming the rest of this week, so I'm sure these markets will have an actual reason to whipsaw around if they didn't today. So the markets, Dow ending up 13 points today, finishing 35,430 on the index. The NASDAQ falls 23 points, 14,258, and the S&P falls 4 points, giving back the 4 gained yesterday, 4,550. So the market's, pretty much a nothing burger for the day. Market's waiting on data now, hoping against all hope that these rate cuts will materialize. The bond market responding like they're almost a certainty. Look at these numbers, guys. The 10-year now falling 4.27%. This was just almost at 5% just a very, very short time ago, a matter of weeks. Down 6 basis points today. The 2-year, 4.64%. Down 11 basis points. So yields on treasuries coming down big time, much to the relief of the federal government, which can't afford to pay interest rates this high. So the bond and stock markets pretty much convinced that this inflation fight is done. Rate cuts coming. We're going to save the day. We're going to rescue an economy that feels like crap, but statistically it looks like it's actually okay. Crazy times, man. I gotta say, I've been watching these markets a long time. I'm getting to be really freaking old now, Started watching markets when dinosaurs roamed the earth, it seems like. And I've never seen a phenomenon like this one where it's just like, even going back to the bad old days in the 70s and 80s, the market just has no idea. The sentiment on the market certainly seems to be positive, but the consumer sentiment is not. So you got a real weird mix there, and it's getting us really weird mixed results. The dollar today up very small, fractionally, sitting at 102.84 on the index. The dollar has been slowly coming back down to earth from around 106, peaked out around 115 earlier this year. But now coming back down to earth, it's buoyed some big rallies in gold and silver, but the dollar's still sitting strong at 102.84. Anything above 100 is a pretty strong dollar. So to see gold and silver rallying in the face of that is pretty encouraging. Gold gaining another $2.30 today, now sitting $2,042.80. Great price for gold. Going to hit the all-time record here. Silver unchanged today, still $25 per ounce. That's not a bad thing. Would have liked to see it pump up a little bit, but holding that $25 number is important because, as I've explained before many times, those round numbers, the 10s, 15s, 20, 25s, tend to be resistance when you're trying to break through and support when things are coming back down. So holding support at 25 for silver, pretty bullish. Oil today rallies up a little bit, up $1.27, $77.68 for a barrel of West Texas Intermediate. I think that, honestly, this is just a technical trading thing. Prices had come down pretty steeply. I think this is just a dead cat bounce off of that. I think you're going to see oil trading where it wants to be between 70 and 75 soon. Bitcoin today giving a little back, down $353. Still a huge number though, $37,784 for Bitcoin. Great number, solid. I was reading, I got to get to this article. I saw a big article in Barone's today talking about this rally and how it's going to keep rolling. I'll read that and let's see if we can't talk about a little bit of that tomorrow. News you guys need today. Well, the big stuff tomorrow, we're going to get the PCE numbers, and we'll get jobs too. Those are going to be two really big factors. The markets could react negatively if these numbers come in not so great, and it hints that maybe we're not going to get those rate cuts so quick. So that'll be interesting. We'll talk about that obviously tomorrow. Interesting stuff going on today, though. Interesting stuff. You guys see Jamie Dimon out and about? Jamie Dimon. Question. Is he running a stealth campaign for president? You see him out there a lot these days, giving speeches about the economy, politics, talking policy. I think maybe with Trump winning the White House, it shows that a guy can come up, a businessman, somebody respected, can come off the sidelines and successfully run for president. I think this might, you got to have a giant ego to do it, right? And some serious financial backing. I'm guessing Dimon has all of that in spades, right? Really interesting stuff. He talked about raising taxes on the rich and closing the earned interest loophole, increasing the child tax credit, and making it easier for people without kids to even qualify for it. Sounds like some Democrat stuff here, but maybe where does he fit in? This is a strong banker business guy, so that would tend to lead you to think conservative Republican. But he lives and works in New York City, tending to be maybe a little more liberal, and maybe he fits with the no labels group. Maybe they put him with a Manchin or a Huntsman from Utah. Interesting idea. Let's see if he continues out there talking about it like this. I saw it on several different sites today, so apparently they want to get the word out. I don't know, is America ready for a banker president? I'm not so sure about that, but it just seems like he's got at least sticking his toe in the water to see if there might be some kind of support. At least that's the way it looks to me. U.S. GDP today revised upward for the last quarter. Last quarter came in 4.9%. Wow, hot quarter. That's positive growth, GDP growth. Now actually revised, instead of down like usual, revised up. Actual GDP for the third quarter, plus 5.2%. So a hot economy. I think this fourth quarter will probably be a little bit less, although Atlanta Fed GDP Now tracker showing things still cooking along pretty good. Interestingly, on this report, consumer spending was revised down from 4%, now showing 3.6% annual growth. Both government and business spending picked up the slack there for the slowdown in consumer spending. Economists are still predicting a slowdown. They point to the jobs market slowing down. I'm not so sure if that's true. They're talking to housing, having some difficulties because of lack of demand or lack of supply, as evidence that the economy is cooling. I think that if they understood the demand there's going to be for housing when rates normalize, well, we'll see how this all plays out, guys. I think it's just everyone just wants lower rates right now. And, I think these economists talking about the doom scenario, the terrible recession coming. I've been predicting it for a long time. I think they just want lower rates as opposed to actually needing cuts to save the economy, right? New car sales. This was fascinating to me. New car sales jumped 10% in November. Is that the month new models come out? Is that why it's so much higher? $44.5 billion on new cars in the U.S. just last month. That's a lot of money, man. I don't know. I think you're getting mixed signals from the auto industry, that's for sure. New, car payments through the roof. People refusing, and smartly refusing to pay $1,000 a month for a car. So where are the sales coming from? They said trucks leading the path as always. Interesting number there. That's a pretty big jump. And lastly, to finish things up on a little bit lighter note here today, the cost for the 12 days of Christmas. You know the 12 days of Christmas, right? Pipers piping, lords leaping, dancers dancing, partridge in a pear tree, all that stuff. Well, they actually calculate the cost of that and use it as a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek poke at the Department of Labor and their statistics. The cost for the 12 days came in at an all-time high this year, yay inflation, $46,279 for all 12 gifts. Represents a jump. The jump is not very big, just 2.7% from last year. But last year saw a giant increase, 10.5%, right? Just a fun look at the economy and inflation. I think it's kind of cute to look at it, especially with time to get ready to rev up and do some Christmas shopping, right? Now, prices for 5 of the 12 gifts kind of stayed the same. Calling birds, golden rings, swans a swimming, maids a milking, and ladies dancing. All basically staying in the same. Lords a leaping, pipers piping, drummers drumming, up over 6%. Partridge in a pear tree, up 13%. Wow, that's crazy, right? The pear tree itself, up 15%. Geese a-laying, up 8.3%. But the number one king of the hill of the 12 days of Christmas, the number one price gainer, turtle doves, pretty rare, up 25% from last year. So if you're going to go out and do these 12 the 12 days of Christmas for your bride, be prepared to spend some cash, guys. This is not a inexpensive proposition. And I think it's just funny because it really does kind of reflect the prices that normal people are seeing on things they buy all the time. I can't wait to get out there and do some Christmas shopping this year, where I got a feeling you're going to see sale now on sale, big sale price ads, and the prices will be higher than they were last time you saw them last Christmas. Crazy times we're living in, kids. Anyway, that's it for the day, guys. We appreciate your support, your patience with the show. We're trying to tweak it and make it a little bit more interesting for you guys. If you could, please hit the like button. It changes the algorithm around, gets our video in front of a few extra people, and gets us a few extra views. We would appreciate that. As always, hit me up with your questions and comments. We'll be back tomorrow with some important economic data. Let's see how these markets react to it. We'll be here to bring you guys the news you need. Until then, guys, take care. Thanks.